Well, the Grammy Awards, I'd say a couple of things that your listeners probably are not familiar with. What you see on television is ultimately 10 of the 95 awards that we bestow. And the process for the Grammy Awards really begins, 5, 6 months earlier in August, September, when the submission period begins for nominations. And then through a series of voting cycles, we have two of them, where, again, something your members may not know, because most award shows and most awarding organizations, they tend to be juried, they tend to be by the public. Sometimes you don't even really know who's making the selections. It may be a magazine, it may be by popularity, it may be by streaming. The Grammy Awards is the organization that it is because ultimately it is a peer-to-peer honor. Mm-hmm. Whatever award you see or you hear about is what it is because this is your peers in the industry, 13,000 of them, voting and saying, we recognize your output today in whatever category that may be, whether it's production, whether it's songwriting, whether it's performance. We recognize your output as what we consider to be the most excellent one this year. The end result of what you see on television, meaning the awards themselves, is a long process that begins with 17, 18, 19,000 submissions that gets whittled down to 95 odd categories, 400 plus nominees and nominations. And then ultimately that results in the final slate of winners. But it's very important to note that all this is a very democratic process by which the membership of the Recording Academy, which are all music creators, these are not music people. Sorry, these are not music industry people. Yeah. These are active creators in the music space in the form of performers, producers, engineers, arrangers, mixers, mastering engineers, on and on. These are the people that select who gets a Grammy. The show in itself is a sight to behold. It takes hundreds of people to put it together. It's, for me, the equivalent of watching a Michelin-starred restaurant putting together a menu and then ultimately serving it and creating an experience that's unparalleled to anything else. As you can imagine, because those final nominations are really not produced until mid-November or so, and the show happens in almost always the first weekend of February, barring the COVID year. There's a very tight period of time to put the whole show together. So there's a whole lot of people scrambling throughout the Christmas holidays, throughout New Year's Day, if you will, to put the show together. And then the metaphorical and maybe a literal drumbeat, increases as you get closer to the show. This year, we were dealt with an interesting twist, which was the fires in LA that caused me even personally to be evacuated from my home, from which thankfully I'm still in and I'm talking to you from, but I was evacuated for almost a month. So as you can imagine, we had about 16 days to reimagine, rethink, rewrite the entire show. So the show for us is ultimately a beautiful means to an even more important end, which is the mission of the Recording Academy, which I had described earlier. Yes, it is about celebrating excellence, but it's also being the foremost advocate for music and musicians. And we ultimately believe that music is the greatest lever that humanity ever created to make a difference in society and the world.